This one sent shockwaves through, well, those who care, parts of the world, from Australia to New York. Rupert Murdoch has stepped down from Fox News Corp. Well, what's this about? Rupert, powerful right-wing media mogul who built and oversaw one of the world's most influential news empires, announced that he will step down as chairman of his companies, Fox Corporation and News Corporation. As the leader of Fox and News Corporation, which publishes influential broadsheets such as the Wall Street Journal and tabloid New York Post, Murdoch has for decades commanded considerable influence in the Republican Party, matched by only a select few. His retirement comes at a key moment in the media industry as entrenched entertainment giants confront a sweeping transformation of the traditional television and film business, and consumers rapidly gravitate toward streaming services. Folks, there's no moonwalking back. This is where we're headed. We're all streaming. Murdoch's decision, step down as chairman of his companies, will also send shockwaves through the political world. Just as the 2024 presidential race heats up, Fox News remains ensnared in litigation stemming from the network's peddling of former President Donald Trump's election lies in the wake of the 2020 election. CNN with the reporting here, Oliver Darcy, the media critic. In recent years, under Murdoch, Fox News has advanced baseless conspiracy theories, including the COVID-19 pandemic and the 2020 presidential election. The lies Fox News pushed about the election spawned two massive defamation lawsuits from voting technology companies, Dominion Voting Systems and Smartmatic. Fox earlier this year settled the Dominion lawsuit for an historic $787.5 million. Smartmatic lawsuit, however, continues to make its way through the court system. Now, Murdoch's eldest son, Lachlan, who already serves as chief executive of Fox Corp, will become sole chairman of both companies. It's unclear if Fox's direction will change under Lachlan, but Rupert signaled Lachlan will maintain the right-wing editorial bent his media companies are known for. However, Lachlan Murdoch has privately criticized Trump, saying that he disagrees with much of the way the former president behaves. People familiar with the matter told CNN last year. In some comments, Murdoch has gone as far as to tell people he believes if Trump were to run again, it would be bad for the country. So apple tree there, Yasmin, we'll have to figure out how far it falls from the tree. Your initial assessment of this, because the board at Fox was after Rupert. They filed a lawsuit, said, you're killing us here. Profits and lawsuits and nearly $750 million more. What do you think about this? Does it even matter?
Yeah, so that was my first question actually, is will anything really change over at Fox? You know, his son isn't much better than he is. Sure, he's privately said some things. He's privately criticized the president. He privately disagrees with this, that, and the other. But he's been born and literally bred by his father to take over this huge media empire. He's the oldest boy, and he's also out of touch. No matter how good his intentions are, he's out of touch with the general public. He's not even an American, and he's, running the American news system now. He's used to having too much power, and he sees power, I think, probably differently than most average Americans do, even very wealthy Americans. Yeah, I think a lot of people are eagerly or maybe even desperately anticipating the turnover of this old guard with the new guard, because the assumption is that the old guard was out of touch and greedy and in general just representative of a different time and different values. But I'm not so sure that the people that old guard was grooming, for lack of a better word, to take over for them, I'm not sure if they're any better, mainly because they grew up in a very different world than the world that the rest of us have grown up in.
I couldn't agree more. And as long as Rupert Murdoch is alive, and when you talk about his children who grow up the way you so eloquently and accurately describe, clearly want to remain at his hip, please him, do his bidding. That's what they've done. And if you think about the statement that was released or leaked, or sources close to Lachlan say he criticizes the way Trump behaves and thinks if he wins again, it'll be bad for the country. How dorky is that? Okay, a 6-year-old child could have made that observation. It reminds me of another daughter of privilege, Ivanka, and all the leaks about how Jared and Ivanka just said, well, they're not agreeing with this or that. They felt strange on January 6th. All these self-serving leaks that Ivanka's whispering to probably one of her handlers to deposit here or there in the press. It just reeks of that. I want to pivot. Well, really, I want to piggyback on something that you said there about what will change at Fox and how much they will kind of weave and bob around their past, because it doesn't seem like much is. They fired the guy who told the most lies, I guess. We could put Tucker up here with the lies. And then who would it be? Is it Larry Ingram or Hannity? I'll let you decide, Yasmin. But again, when we look at the programming moves they've made thus far, even after the lawsuit, I don't know that much has changed. It's so subtle.
Yeah, and they're still finding themselves in the midst of other legal battles in relation to that Dominion and Smartmatic lawsuit. For example, I think they're being sued by the state of New York right now for the pensions and all the things that the lawsuits pretty much put in jeopardy for a lot of the employees working at Fox and in the media sphere. And as far as who lies the most after Tucker, my gut reaction would be to say Hannity, but honestly, I don't watch either of them enough to know because they both
Fair
lie
enough.
so much, right? And
That's
then
fair.
it becomes a question of what constitutes a lie, right? You can say something and you can say it in such a way where you're not technically not saying anything untrue, but you know what you're doing because you're kind of insinuating or implying something that is not true. You're misconstruing a truth so that your followers, so that your viewers will view it in a certain way and interpret it in a certain way. Tucker Carlson was great at doing that. He was really great at framing stories the way that he wanted his audience to hear them. And Hannity does a lot of that. Laura Ingraham, I would say, is a little less subtle in her approach from my own personal experience with her. But it's hard to watch the news on that particular channel because you don't know what's real and what isn't, to the point where I don't even know what to look up sometimes. I don't even know which part of it I'm supposed to investigate further. It's not an outright lie. It's like all of it. Everything they're saying is not true.
Yeah, and I worry about the next generation, the heir apparents, because of inbreeding. And I want to explain what I mean by that. You have that snarky, boyish kid who was reared, if you will, by Bill O'Reilly. Remember, that's how it was. Jesse, what's his face? And he has assumed the position, and he doesn't appear to be that bright, offensive, aggressive, frat boy mentality, prep school approach. But he doesn't seem to be that intelligent because he has not lived outside of that bubble. And again, this inbreeding concerns me because they just keep coming back, populating like some rodents that we still can't get rid of that roam all night in New York City. I'll never forget the time I saw a very large one start right across my path, and I looked to my right, and there were all the cousins, brothers, sisters, and boy, it was a heck of a family reunion in this dumpster site.